Hey there, Sue Viscovich here, and
And Graham Bernard.
we're from Elixir Consulting. Hey, we thought we would shoot this quick video and share it. The world seems to have gone mad at the moment. We have got new information coming through regularly on coronavirus. Lots of things we still don't know about, but it seems like this is moving so quickly. We're talking to all of our coaching clients at the moment about their strategies that they're putting in place for their business. So we thought we would just share a very high level view of some things that you might also want to be able to help plan for in your business. The one thing that you don't want to do is do nothing. And so we've broken down this video into two sections, one being the communications for your clients and the other being more operational. So I guess if we start with the communications, Gray, the one thing that you don't want to be doing right now is staying silent for your clients. You do not want them hearing about market updates and what's going on in the world from, heaven forbid, Trump or Google. So Gray, there's a couple of ways to do that. Hey?
Yeah. Look, 100%, I think it goes without saying that at the moment it'd almost be impossible to over-communicate with clients. I think the more you can be touching base with them, the better. And even if there's not much new to say, history says that the more you're engaging, the better they will feel. Clearly your top 10, maybe 20 clients, you might want a really personalised, high-touch over the phone. But also there's new tools around now that I think are even probably sometimes more effective than a phone call, where you can video conference them using FaceTime, or if you're just having trouble getting hold of someone, record a video on something like Loom. It's a system we use a lot, where you can very quickly record a brief message, 1 or 2 minutes, just to talk to the client directly. And again, very powerful. And the behavioural psychologists say that that's as good as a face-to-face meeting in terms of making them feel that they're kind of under your influence, if you like, or control.
Yeah. And when it comes to one-to-many then, Gray, so obviously there's only so many of those individualised ones that you'll have time to do at the moment. So identify who those are that you want to get into personalised. Then for the rest of your clients, you know, at a time like this, a really lengthy text-based email is probably not the most effective way to do it. There are some really great pieces and articles and commentary coming out from all the fund managers that no doubt you're using. But if you just forward those on to the clients, you're missing a really key engagement piece. Clients want to see your face, hear your voice, hear the calmness there. As much as you might not have all of the answers, to know that you are dealing with it and you're on top of things is going to be really comforting for clients. So again, using the tool that you suggested, Graham, that use Loom is really great. You could do a video. Doesn't matter if it's Hollywood, doesn't matter if you mess up your words a little bit. We do it all the time. But to be able to get that message out to clients that you would otherwise type out into a longer email, pop it in a video. You can still collect pop links in the email. So for those people who do want to read more in-depth information, they can do so. But at least hearing your calming voice in these difficult times can be really helpful. And then you can offer the fact if they want to speak to you, then of course they can reach out.
Yeah, and in fact, you can be doing that weekly at the moment. And something we'd be suggesting is, you know, at least weekly. There's so much changing so quickly, and even just to let them know that you're still there and still available and still on top of things. It's very powerful.
Yeah, and I think also even putting it on social media, if you've got your social media channels, or even just if you have your own personal LinkedIn profile, to be sharing those kind of videos through there as well, it can be really helpful for people. Yeah. And of course, your meetings as well. So at the moment, you might have clients that don't really want to travel. That doesn't mean cancel all of your client reviews.
Absolutely. You really want to keep that sort of feeling of, while the world is not normal at the moment, is, you know, BAU as much as practical. So if there are clients coming up for review, the worst thing you can be doing is postponing, particularly indefinitely. So say to them, you know, let's still have your client review and we'll work out what's going on. But if they're uncomfortable about traveling into your office, which may well be the case, particularly in the big metropolitan areas, offer to do it via a video conference. So at least it's they knowing that you're not sort of holding back from engaging with them. So business as usual in terms of having those reviews, but maybe the method of it. But please have a practice on that. Don't make it your first one that you're doing with a client is the first go through. You might want to take some time to check the technology, make sure it works, and maybe even think through, do you run the review meeting slightly differently if you're doing it via video conference than if it was face-to-face. You can share documents and the like, but have a think through, have a dry run before you then, you know, run that with the first client.
And look, it really doesn't matter which tool you use. This is not the time, if you haven't done these meetings before, it's not the time to go testing everything in the market to make a really solid decision at the end of the day. I mean, there's tools, we use Zoom, there's GoToMeeting, you might have access to Sweetbox. And worst case scenario, if you've got clients that don't really do computers, you can even do it via FaceTime on their mobile phone, something that they're fairly familiar with. Actually, that reminds me of even a new client this may even work with. You know, one of my clients I was with yesterday, they've got a number of clients in their pipeline that they're just starting to meet. And we were discussing that this may very well be the first time they've brought an entirely new client onto the business that they've never actually met in the same room with. These clients have got some really pressing issues, and they're really thankful that the advisor is able and happy to be able to conduct meetings in a way that's outside of your traditional face-to-face meeting, because they don't want to go into the city. So that should not stop you.
Yeah. I think that's a really good segue into the next point I think we want to make, which is it's time to put your CEO hat on and think through all of this change that we're working through. How are you going to run the business effectively and efficiently, and what are the impacts on your staff, and how are you going to manage that? So I think that's something that's really important that we think through. Practical things like, have all your staff got remote access so that they can work from home and operate key systems, your planning software, the CRM, access to documents, how much of it's in the cloud, and then are they set up with secure passwords and what have you, so that if they are dialing in from home, that there's no worry about data integrity. Have you got the video conferencing system set up so you as a team can still communicate and talk together? Again, much better if you can talk face-to-face via a system like Zoom, and then share documents, far more effective than just talking on the phone. And if this goes on for a protracted period of time, will help keep your staff feeling engaged and still feeling part of the team if they are, for a protracted period, working from home, which could well be the case.
Yeah, and as we film this right now, those stay-at-home rules have not been enforced across the country. So maybe it's a good time to do a test run. Again, a lot of our clients, they're saying this Thursday or this Friday, everyone is going to work from home, to test it out, so that then they're coming to work the next day. Whatever didn't work, they can fix up any of those glitches or retrain people in how to handle it, so that if it does get enforced for a longer period of time, it's still going to be as usual. That also then means, I think, around those communication with staff, as you say, Graham, from a CEO, a leadership perspective, as much as there's a lot of unrest and a lot of unknowns, your staff might be feeling anxious too. So letting them know about how you're approaching this, and also in those communications around investment markets that you're doing for your clients, making sure that your staff are aware of how you're thinking around that too, and still staying in touch with them with your team meetings, incredibly important. And when you've worked all of that out, that's worth putting into your client communications too. When you're doing those messages to clients about what's happening, letting them know that, you know, if it does turn out that your staff have to work from home, how have you redirected the phones? Who's going to be able to answer their call? Will you be there to be able to answer their communications if they've got any queries that they want to speak to you with? All really important factors.
Yeah.
Look, we've got a checklist. It's not completely exhaustive, but it's a good way to just structure your thinking around this. You're more than welcome to download that and utilize it. We would love to be seeing more of these ongoing communications from advisors through all of your LinkedIn or your social media channels to stay communicating with the world. Look, we don't know where this is going to end up. We do know that this is a very, very important time for advisors. As if you didn't have enough on your plate with all of the business strategies that you're working on anyway, this is where you are absolutely demonstrating the value to your clients and just how important you are and your financial planning relationship is in their life. So think of it a little bit differently to how you might have in any other environment, and everybody will go on to prosper and grow, no doubt.
Yeah. Look, if advisors are more valued by their clients than ever in times like this, which is why it's so important to get that communication and make sure as the impacts of this impact on your business, it doesn't interrupt your ability to provide that service to your clients that they really, really need and value at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. So look, that's all for us. I hope that was really helpful for you. We will continue to keep you updated with different ideas and thoughts through this difficult time. And look, if you, we do have a little bit of capacity for some more coaching clients. So once all of the noise settles down and you realize that there are still some strategies that maybe you're not entirely sure how to implement, you really want to work with an expert on, we're happy to take your calls. We are all available via Zoom, via phone call, via the usual channels. So more than happy to help out. Best of luck.
Good luck. Bye-bye.